Lagos State has been described as the gateway to Nigeria, and it has also been described as Nigeria's gateway to the world. The state proudly retains its identity in a 36-state structure that forms the Federal Republic of Nigeria. These and other reasons have been given for the growth and population of the state. The state has been undergoing steady development and a rapid influx of people from the hinterland, so much so that it is growing and expanding at an alarming rate that it has stretched the resources of the government to its utmost limit. However, its position in the national economy has made it to have an outstanding significance as the financial, commercial, and industrial capital of the nation, and it can also be referred to as a socio-cultural melting pot, as every culture and family in Nigeria has a representative in Lagos. With the rapid growth and development going by research, it has been shown that the population growth is now 10 times faster than New York and Los Angeles in the United States of America. And these states are considered to be one of the mega cities worldwide. Therefore, the obvious negative effects of the population explosion include infrastructural decay, environmental institutional deterioration, emergence of slums, security threat and social tension, widespread unemployment and poverty, traffic lock jams, housing overcrowding, and high immigration and rural-urban drift, amongst others. Meanwhile, in order to forestall these problems, and in order to provide a rational basis for urban development in the state, the Lagos State government commissioned master plans at various levels, regional, metropolitan, local, and rural levels. And the Lagos State Regional Plan 1980 to 2000 was prepared for the whole state, which attempted to unify the formulation of policies on the uses of land resource, most especially in the metropolitan Lagos. Being a state with great influx of people, goods, both industrial and commercial activities, the state at the initial stage and plans had different termini which serve as transport entry points. But with this, the urban functioning of Lagos as a whole unit was disregarded. Therefore, the State Regional Plan 1980 to 2000 recognized 35 urban centers which later became urban districts. The present Yaba Termnus is within Yaba District. The Yaba axis was the first planned settlement for the natives outside Lagos Island by the colonial master. Of importance, Yaba Terminus was one of the 3 purposely built municipal transport entry points into the then Federal Territory of Lagos in the 30s, and it was the largest bus depot on the mainland. Therefore, this made it possible for the terminus to serve as the primary gateway to the old Lagos City Council and the core fulcrum of the municipal intermodal transport system. The Yaba Terminus is within a built-up environment. It is bounded in the south by Federal Psychiatric Hospital. The terminus happens to be of great significance based on its historical background, as the terminus was the primary gateway to the old Lagos City Council area. The emergence of Yaba Terminus came with the development of institutional and other social activities like educational, as it houses one of Nigeria's premier tertiary institutions, Yaba College of Technology, formerly known as Yaba Higher College. There are also the railways, the medical compounds, and Methodist Girls High School. The terminus also houses a beehive of commercial activities, as it serves as a focal point and a confluence of entry and exit. Therefore, the effect of the popular Tejo market cannot be ignored. There are lots of commercial activities, most especially street trading, and this has led and had a negative effect on the area. As all residential buildings along Ojuelegba Road and Tejo Road have been converted, and this has resulted in heavy human and vehicular traffic. It is noteworthy to note that Tejo market grew from the old Yaba market, which evolved from trading activities around Yaba railway station and the Yaba bus terminal. One major function and purpose for which the Yaba Termnus was actually planned is in the area of transportation. Sometime, the terminus used to act as a central point for all onward bound vehicles and passengers' disembarkment. This confluent point character associated with its usage and this means of transportation include taxis, buses, private cars and train. The railway lines from Ido Terminus crosses Ojuelegba Road at the terminus.
Played a predominantly role, is still playing a predominantly role as a center of activity, a nodal activity, an interchange for commuters, for intra and intercity vehicular movement. Because at Yaba you can get buses to virtually every part of the city. Ditto, you can also get buses to other parts of the country, particularly in the southwest from Yaba. So Yaba functions or performs a role as both a nodal center being commercial to Lagos, and then it's an interchange, the first point of accessing Lagos by a lot of people from the outside. Like I said, particularly from the southwest, Ibadan, and even part of Edo Delta states.
Yaba Terminus is accessible from Jibowu through City Way, Muritala Mohammed Way, Idioro, Montgomery, and Ojuelegba, which is a dual carriageway. As a result of the easy accessibility and historical background, the Yaba Terminus has over time served as a focal population center point for public mobilization and cohesion. Based on this, the Yaba Terminus featured prominently in anti-colonial struggle and internal opposition to military dictatorships and unfavorable public policies, especially by students and labor unions since the mid-20th century.
Even the open space at that time used to be a center point where human rights activists used to converge, discuss with people, they receive and then discuss with people to have their opinion about the activities of the government. Sometimes they let the people know what they are doing. It used to be a park where people meet. Tashari in his days had a lot of meetings at that place. We have a lot of other people too who are meeting. Even the early politicians in those days, like Babat Mokele and others, they were using the place as a rally point, whereby they were disseminating information to the people and then they were having a lot of things to do with the people. But now, nobody can even meet there, except you want to meet with area.
The Yaba Terminus will always be different from other termini in Lagos State, as it has played host to prominent activists who have over time turned to the terminus for rallying effect. They include the late Herbert Macaulay, Pa Michael Imodu, late Comrade Wahab Goodluck, late Dr. Tai Sholari, Chief Gani Fawemi, Comrade Adams Oshiomole, amongst others. In effect, this center point has played an effective nationalistic role in integrating Nigerians of all persuasions, providing a platform for ventilating popular feelings on national issues, and acting as a culture capture and value exchange environment.
Yaba Terminus was a very popular venue for all those who wanted
to express protest opinions. You know, on the island we had the Lagos race course, and on this side, Yaba was central to population going in and out of Lagos, and then going inwards into Yaba's area. But I cannot think of any important civil rights leaders who did not use Yaba. I know that there were so many of them, like we had Mr. Samuel Onitiri, even lived not far from us. Even our revered Albert Macaulay, Chief H.O. Davis, and politicians of various generations made use of Yaba. We did not, we could hardly pass that place without one form or the other of meeting, or mass meeting, or protest meeting going on. So that terminus is an historic monument.
But over time, Yaba Termnus has gone through a drastic retrogressive state, as it is no longer its old state due to its present state of decay. As a result of overpopulation, the infrastructure has also been overstretched, and there has been undue pressure on the facilities.
Yaba, like every part of the city, is in a state of distress. Lagos lacks open spaces, recreation areas, parks, places of meeting, places of interest. There's virtually no open space left for pedestrians in Lagos, whether organized or unorganized. Yaba used to be one of such centers where during the Nadeko era, all kinds of pro-democracy, even the student days, in the late 60s and early 70s, this was a meeting point, for the public to hold discussions, to press a point, to make their views known, to the government. It's popular with the statue of the man you see there now, the late Dr. Tai Sholari. But of course, it will be difficult to hold a rally in Yaba now, as you can see that it's all taken over by commercial activities, by transportation activities. And it's a shame that a valuable, usable open space like that has been turned into a highly commercialized space where pedestrians are not free. You have to watch your shoulder, passing through it. It is highly militarized. There are too many people in uniform, all kinds of task forces at Yaba. In fact, you get to Yaba without knowing that you're in Yaba, except for the noise, except for the conflicts of uses. Conflicts in the sense that you have too many things. There's only one major medical research institution in this country. It's situated in that place. There's a central medical library, it's situated there. The psychiatric hospital has an entrance, into that place. There's a beautiful Presbyterian church. You also have a nursery school, the International Women's School, nursery school. A lot of these activities are dwarfed just by the immense number of people, that troops into that place at every time of day. In fact, there's no non-busy hour for Yaba. You can't talk about peak and off-peak periods. Every time is a peak period. It's not like where you will tell people, oh, I want to meet you, let's meet there There are no, shelters for those buses. You can't find your way without asking questions. At night, Yaba is not illuminated. It becomes a ghost place. It could be even a trap if you are not sure, about where you are.
Overpopulation has also made every available space at the Yaba terminus taken up by the people who display different wares to be sold, or a market, and this has led to street trading. The terminus has not been able to be used for the purpose for which it was initially created. This problem has led to unbelievable traffic jam. Motorists, especially commercial vehicles drivers, have limited space to pass or park to dislodge commuters. Even pedestrians don't have ease of movement. Emergence of slums is another problem at Yaba terminus. Different shacks and shanties which house many people of questionable characters, which has led to insecurity and threat to lives and property. It is of general consensus that this great historical place must not be allowed to degenerate further and lose its value and importance, as history will not be complete without reference to this sport. It is therefore with a sense of responsibility towards providing a healthy living environment that there has now been an awakening to bringing back the lost glory of the Yaba terminus. Plans and proposals are coming up, and these are to give the Yaba terminus a facelift. The first to be tackled are the roads and infrastructures, as there can be no facelifting without good roads.
If it is possible to create a hierarchy of spaces, if it is possible to create a hierarchy of design, we can get into a situation where people going to Uyigbo, for example, who have no reason to be at Yaba, by just introducing a clover leaf, an elevated bridge, so they don't have to come there. During rush hours, Yaba is a big trouble. It's a big mess. One of the best things, easiest, to say, hey, direct the traffic. That could be easy, but it's already a one-way traffic anyways, coming from Jibowu side towards Uyigbo. So you could say, well, that's not the way, because if it's already a one-way traffic, could we also say, could we close it down at certain hours of the day? Make it pedestrian, where there could be food vendors, where, there could be bands playing. Let's create some excitement in this city, where I will be free, to be free of all these vehicular people, and I can meet with you. Let's provide some shade, some shelter. So it has to be studied, but it can be done, okay, on the various levels. For example, studies have been carried out by students here, as to alternative views, diversion of routes, for example. Like the road going to Ujo-Elegba, could it be bypassed through the LTV, is it NTA, around behind St. Joshua Market, to pick up at the local railway station, for example, so that you have a lot of people who have nothing to do coming to that junction, the T-junction, on Ujo-Elegba Road and Yaba. This is it not Bono Way? I believe it's Bono Way. It's Bono Way. Once you leave Yaba, it's Bono Way. It's about the railway track. Okay? That whole area, redesigning.
It is being proposed that it will be a good idea for Yaba terminus to be turned to a central park with various attractive recreational facilities, which will attract visitors and citizens alike. Furthermore, it is believed that a big market shopping complex, which will house various malls that will be 21st century compliant, will be a good idea.
government will have to be courageous, but at the same time, very considerate. Courageous to tackle the transportation system in the state, so that commercial buses should have their routes. You should have their bus stops, you should have their garages. Then Yaba should be built up as a real terminus. Just now, it's just historical. There is nothing to show the activity of government building it up. They are just group. I feel that there should be even a management committee to be saddled with the management of the terminus, so that management will be able to coordinate the activities of all transporters and tie it up with the proposal which I have put forward of having the terminus of the metro line just there. If this is done, whatever the cost is incurred will be brought back in so many times, because to make business better, to make business move, transportation will be a comfortable exercise instead of the agony that we have now.
Based on its historical background, Yaba Termnus, it is believed, can house sculptural edifices of various heroes who've made impact in the development of Lagos State and Nigeria as a whole. It can also serve as a gallery of Lagos State with portraits of past chief executives, past and present obas, and a reference point, in short. This subject site can serve as a memorial and heroes arcade.
I would love to see a mini museum. I would like to see a good library. I would like to see a small-scale supermarket, and I would like to see if the space permits, some information center disseminating information to the people. I would expect that Lagos State government would have a working information center from which people can pick up their information. And of course, if there's that, you will need something for the media as well as the radio and television station. It ought to be a very active center.
If all these can be achieved, then the Yaba Termnus will definitely attract tourists, becoming a tourist haven, and it will earn foreign exchange for Lagos State. Yaba Termnus and Lagos State as a whole will be able to compete effectively with any mega city in the world, and it will always serve as a reference point from any part of the world. All hands are on deck, as every individual, Lagosian and stakeholder is expected to join hands with the government to make this great dream come true. Yaba Termnus must not and should not be allowed to fade out of history. The history of Lagos City, and indeed Lagos State of Nigeria, would not be complete without this sport of great importance.
Due to their importance and relevance to the continued survival of the nation, there is no subject that is as topical in our society today as poverty alleviation and youth empowerment. Create a solid foundation for our teeming youths is born out of many factors, and among these is to create an opportunity for them to contribute their quota to the nation's development. To a reasonable extent, the population of the combined youth group usually constitutes the working population. As a result, the skills and technical expertise of the youths determine to a large extent the productivity of such nation. In Nigeria and Lagos State in particular, the need to integrate the youths within the productive sector of the economy has been extremely demanding. Conscious of their enormous potentials if tapped, and realizing the dangers they could pose if not productively engaged, the different administrations in the state had in the past implemented various programs which to some extent took some youths out of the labor market. Since 1999, however, the subject of poverty alleviation and youth empowerment for the state's teeming youth population has been given remarkable and expanded scope. Quite noticeably, almost all the programs of the present administration have their poverty alleviation contents. As a result, the responsibility for job creation and poverty alleviation now devolved on more than one ministry. As the Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation implements its own programs, the Ministry of Special Duties also contributes its quota to poverty alleviation and job creation by organizing vocational training for youths, including recruitment into the armed forces. Again, the Ministries of Health, Agriculture, Justice, Environment, among others, are also involved in one youth empowerment program or the other. But the major ministry responsible for youth empowerment and development is the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Social Development. With this interministerial approach to youth empowerment, the administration of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu put forward various initiatives aimed at bringing the youths out of unproductive, unattractive and dishonorable ways of life thereby laying the necessary foundation that would allow them contribute to the state's development. For obvious reasons, however, part of which is the continued attraction of youths into the state in search of green pastures, it was realized that most of these youths, particularly the unskilled ones, now constitute a big threat to the peace of the state. To be precise, realizing the limited available opportunities in paid employments and being further handicapped by their unskilled status, considerable number of them have turned to touting as their means of livelihood. To say that the present administration is highly embarrassed by this upsurge in touting activities is saying the least. The complaints that are daily received from concerned members of the public and relevant government agencies informed the immediate and urgent need to curb this menace. As a responsive and highly responsible administration, rather than initiate the process of arrest and prosecution for these touts, the administration, in its characteristic dynamism and its pragmatic way of confronting related challenges, conceived the idea of rehabilitating them. In the administration's view, it is its responsibility to train the youths to acquire skills and traits which will facilitate their survival in a decent manner, thereby preventing them from taking part in criminal activities. There is also the need to produce yearly a crop of transformed youths as tradesmen and craftsmen who are currently scarce in business and construction industries. Similarly, it is believed that government can create opportunities for the stimulation of youth interest in the establishment of small business enterprises after rehabilitation. With these as core propelling objectives, the choice of Tekunle Island, located near Ise village within the Lekki Peninsula in Ijebu-Lekki local government area of the state, became incontestable. Seated on an expanse of land of about 500 hectares, the use of this island was first established by the colonial masters for slave trafficking far before Nigeria's independence. Many years after abolition of slavery, the military government in 1985 opened up the island to serve as detention camp. It was also put to other uses before being abandoned in 1994. Hence, the serious dilapidation and decrepit state of the camp when it was first visited by the representative of the present administration. With the acceptance of the island as a preferred choice, clearing of the whole site, which had become a thick forest, began in May 2002. By July the same year, it was completed. Having considered the aims and objectives for the center, different projects divided into 2 phases were then proposed and have already been executed in the center. Projects already completed and are ready for use include construction of 8 blocked walled dormitories with provision of double-decker steel beds and mattresses, construction of generator house with provision for purchase of 25 kVA generators, provision of floodlight within the premises, and wiring of the dormitories complete with ceiling fans. Also completed are the kitchen and store, as well as toilet cubicles and rehabilitation of open bathrooms. Still under phase 1, additional works that were carried out include provision of a dining hall, construction of toilets and bathrooms for male and female administrative staff, including light partitioning of a dormitory into 4 rooms and a sitting room to serve as a temporary accommodation for administrative staff. With the successful completion of various projects under phase 1, another set of projects grouped into phase 2 were unfolded and executed, most especially to fulfill the center's objectives of not only being a rehabilitation center, but also to create opportunities for them to acquire skills in their areas of interest. As a result, projects that have also been completed in the center include a clinic and toilets, Skill Acquisition Center 1 for cloth dyeing, tailoring and hairdressing, Skills Acquisition Center 2 for fine arts, sculpture, carpentry, shoe and leather works, including electrical and electronics. There is also rehabilitation of female and male staff dormitories, rehabilitation of wall fence and provision of concertina fence wire, concrete pavement and curbs, rehabilitation of dining hall, provision of furniture and necessary equipment for skills acquisition, among others. With the visit of an interministerial inspection team of the center in April 2004 for an on-the-spot assessment, additional but critical yet to be available projects were again proposed and have since been implemented. These include rehabilitation of administrative block, provision of additional bathroom and toilets and standard steel gates, including the provision of a borehole with elevated tanks and pipes. It also includes provision of 1,000 layers poultry, provision of 5,000 capacity fish pond and 2,000 capacity snail pond and others. In addition, a medical center has been established in the center, while all necessary equipment and frontline drugs have been supplied. There is also a solid arrangement to provide specialized drugs, including continuous supply of drugs and medical consumables to the center. Moved by the spirit and success recorded through this massive rehabilitation, the center was commissioned and opened for use by His Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, represented by the Honorable Commissioner for Establishment and Training, Chief Ebenezer Akimbolade.
Our administration is noted for inclusive governance because we believe that everybody is important. The approach adopted was education, reorientation, and reintegration. Our administration is noted for inclusive governance because we believe that everybody is important. The agricultural program of the state government has also been designed such that all rehabilitated boys and girls are gainfully employed as a way of reintegration back to the society. The scheme has provided employment for hundreds of rehabilitees to date. The livestock training program, designed to equip the boys and girls with necessary knowledge in poultry husbandry techniques, has resettled hundreds of young poultry farmers, most of whom now contribute to the poultry needs of the state today. The decision to locate this center away from the hustle and bustle of the city was informed by the need to avoid distractions and to enable the rehabilitees to have holistic and functional rehabilitation programs. This center, being commissioned today, is equipped with various vocational trades and equipment for the immediate commencement of the training and retraining of the area boys. We expect many agencies, both private and public, non-governmental organizations, community-based organizations, religious bodies and civil society groups to buy into this project for a successful and resoundingly successful outcome. I challenge non-governmental organizations, donor agencies to take the initiative of generously contributing towards sustaining the laudable objective already initiated by the government. Let me also task the religious organizations that they have to redouble their efforts at reorientation of our youth towards eradicating the incidence of drug dependency and other antisocial behaviors. On the other hand, the religious organizations, human rights groups should see this center as a rallying point for all shades of opinion concerning rehabilitation of social miscreants as against the proliferation of centers by different groups in the state.
Open and to serve the best interests of our people.
With the commissioning and successful handing over of the center to the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Social Development, another challenge has been thrown in the way of the ministry. The successful takeoff and justification of the enormous resources spent on bringing Tekunle Island back to its real state will be determined by the ability of this ministry to get as much touts to the camp as possible.
84, 85, 86, I was directly in charge of Itaoku detention camp níbí. Ìgbà yẹn helicopter la máa ń gbé wá, èmi pẹ̀lú James Zambaba, gbogbo àwọn táǹkù wá ń gbà yẹn ọkọ̀ náà máa fi fún wọn wá. Ìgbà tí mo débí yìí tí mo bọ́lẹ̀ nú speedboat yẹn, inú mi dùn nítorí ìjọ náà lọ́hùn nígbàtà tún bí ìṣe páànù pákó ọkọ̀ láti ṣe. Mo lè ti rí pé ìjọba Lagos State ní abẹ́ Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu àti àwọn commissioners àtàwọn permanent secretary wọ́n ti ṣe gudugudu méje láti tún bí ìṣe dáadáa. Àmọ̀ràn fún àwọn multinational companies torí àpawọ́pọ̀ ló ń gbẹ́rù lórí kọ́ran ìjọba Lagos State àti local government gbogbo ẹ̀pẹ́ lọ́wọ́ láti rí pé bí nǹkan tó ń fẹ́ fi ṣe Ọlọ́run ní kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀.
Poultry, and we have land for further development. So these are the dormitories.
Again, the success of the center would depend on the cooperation and support of the touts in accepting the reform process, except if the ministry is considering force as an option. Without doubt, the present rehabilitation and youth empowerment drive, like previous unique and touching programs, reflects this administration's total commitment to bringing a new lease of life to the entire Lagosian population. By taking touts out of the streets and garages, Lagosians would have a sense of peace and decorum and would not exercise any fear as they go about their daily businesses. It is hoped that all stakeholders in the project, particularly the touts being rehabilitated, will see the good sides of this initiative and embrace it for the betterment of their lives and society.